Welcome to the special simulcast, the Neil Haley Show, and the Cutting Edge Benefits Podcast with our host, Tom Quigley of ClaimLinx. All right, Tom, here we go. People decide to use your solution. What are the next steps once they sign up?
We put in the appropriate health insurance plan or plans, and we design the medical expense reimbursement plan for them. And then our service team takes over and educates the employees on how to use two cards.
Okay, so that's the beginning process. So explain two cards to me because we really have not gotten to that before.
We have two cards, a primary, whichever is your major medical carrier, and then the company has their own card with their name on it that we manage that is for their medical expense reimbursement plan. So the doctors file to us as secondary insurance. So they have a primary insurance and a secondary.
Okay. And that secondary it makes it so they get better benefits and all those things than just taking.
Correct.
If they just took the benefits, what would happen to them and not had that other card? They're going to be paying
They would have a high deductible health plan, and they would have to pay more than they have to for their out of pocket.
So once the onboarding process begins, what do you guys do on a monthly basis to monitor all this?
We pay their claims directly to for the company, directly to the doctors and hospitals, and they use our card for their prescription drugs when they go to the pharmacies.
I see. So what do they pay ClaimLinx? You don't get paid for extra, but what do they pay ClaimLinx at the beginning?
They need a document, so they pay us a document fee, one-time fee, and then we manage their program for $30 a month per employee.
I got it. And then the only other money you make is if you save them the money.
That's correct.
And what do you guys see as when you're looking at the savings? It's already set up in numbers, but you also are monitoring specifically what's happening with the whole company.
Right. So we take where their current plan, when we first met them, what their rates were, minus the new rates, minus any claims, the admin fee, and we multiply that by 0.20, whatever and that's they get billed each month for the savings.
And you guys handle any questions about specific claims and things like that at ClaimLinx too?
They get a dedicated claims person, each company that's in-house, and they have the ability, we have an employee portal and an employer portal where they can look up their own claims if they want. And we also have an online help. They can chat online if they don't want to call.
Interesting. And in that process with claims, you're able to speed up the process than that employee trying to figure it out themselves.
If they utilize us, that's the key, and that's the education piece.
Because sometimes people buy health plans, right? And talked about that process of this. You go and buy from your great insurance sales guy, and then they give them the employee benefits, and then the employees have to kind of just fight for it themselves, right?
Yeah, they have to call. So on the prescription drugs, any major drug over $250 is sent to us, and we get them a manufacturer's rebate. So the employees pay far less and the employer has less exposure.
Interesting.
And then also any bill above 1,000, we negotiate down further so the employees have less out of pocket on their copays. And at hospitals, hospitals' offices, hospitals, those items, surgeries, inpatient stays. And then we also, if they have a certain disease, we get them grants that pay for all their insurance premium and all their out of pocket. This is all done because we have them fill out prior to coming with us form fire. And since we're doing the claims, we know the conditions and the drugs and everything about them to help them guide them through the maze we call health insurance. But they have to be willing to do one thing: change. They have to change the way they were doing it.
And you talked about one of the objections is it's too much work for the HR. Is it truly too much work for the HR?
They take it upon themselves to get involved into everything, and they don't need to. They should have the employees utilize the employee portal. They should have them use the help, and they should have them call if they want to talk, and get a hold of our, and if they need education, have our service team come out and educate the employees. So the answer is no. Quite frankly, it should be less work. They shouldn't be involved in any of it because of
Really?
HIPAA purposes.
That's
Yeah,
wild because I
yeah,
mean but what is it why does HR want to butt into that? And that should be our next topic. We're going to do that for the next podcast. So I'll wait for that question. That's going to be a good fun one because you could tell me about those stories of
yeah,
HR and how you work with and have successful stories with HR
yeah.
versus horror stories and then telling that story because those objections are important. But it's like, wow, you don't have to deal with the employee is in great shape now because they're not having to fight
Right.
for every dollar. You're out there trying to make sure they get what they deserve.
If they utilize us, which is part of the problem, is education. Really, what you have to look at is when we come in, they have to be willing to change at the ownership level, at the CFO level, and at the HR level. And then they have to be willing to work with us. And by doing that, we create a team atmosphere. No, I in team, right? And then what we're able to do then is to educate the employees so the employees truly get everything they want out of their benefits
Wow.
and more.
Yeah, way more than you can imagine.
You know,
Yeah,
we get
because
kids with autism. There's programs where they can get dogs, guide dogs. You know, you go on a plane. My nephew had one. Yeah, and they train dogs to, because autistic kids like to wander, and the dog stays with them. They attach the dog to them. My nephew had a poodle. Big. It was Brock. My parents called him Brock. Uh, but anyways, Brock was a cool dog.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it sounds like such a easy thing. I'd love to dive deeper into this because that story of the onboarding process seems so simple.
it's not hard.
Is a
It's
lot
made
harder.
hard. It's made, well, again. You get people's feelings get hurt because they aren't part of the process. You know, an owner CFO decides, hey, we're gonna save the money, and then they dump it on their plate, and they feel overwhelmed, and they feel like they read way too much into it, when if they listen to what I just said, keeping it simple, having the employees take advantage of the tools that are available to them, which in turn helps them pay nothing on their major drug costs or their premiums in some cases, versus doing it the way they've been doing it.
Okay. Well, very interesting stuff. You can go to claimlinx.com to schedule a call with Tom today. Appreciate it, Tom. And we will talk soon.
Thanks.
That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Cutting Edge Benefits Podcast, guys. Take care.